Hello and welcome to the Special Moves podcast. My name is Mike Williams and this is Jake Lukowski and Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
Oh, I just got an email notification on my laptop there. Just get rid of that. Today we're going to be talking about video games. It's coming up again. I don't care, man. Go away.
This is the start of a sci-fi movie.
I hate that about Windows 10. You know how it just sort of, if you log in,
forces its way on screen.
Yeah, and if you just log into your emails like on a browser, it just sort of seems to log in on Windows as well, so you get like integrated email. It's the fucking worst thing I've ever seen. We're going to be talking about Anthem today, as well as some big Nintendo news, which everyone knows and has already made the exact same joke about. Reggie Fils-Aime leaving, and a guy called Doug Bowser coming in to take over Nintendo.
Yeah.
Bowser, guys. His name is Bowser. Holy shit, I just thought of something.
Wow.
Bowser is also like a popular Nintendo character as well. Isn't that funny? We're also going to be doing the new releases and DS Special Moves. Some really nice emails this week, so we'll be reading those a little bit later on. So let's kick it off with Anthem then. First of all, we haven't played it, have we? We haven't played the release version. We haven't played the release version.
Well, okay.
I've got mine installing right now.
Yeah, so the game only came out on Friday. We're recording this on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You guys only got your copies today. So, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff online about it because if you had like the EA Access Premier Super Duper, you could have played it a week ago. So, like a lot of people on my Twitter have been playing a lot of it. Like, I'm constantly seeing pictures of like I think they're not masterworks, but I can't remember what they're called, but like the End Game Hunt.
Yeah. Which,
by the way, is getting some very nice things said about it. The End Game. I'll go on to it in a minute, but I'll go on to what I think about it in a minute. But it's released
you played it?
Friday. No, but I'm on about the sort of reception seems to be nearly identical to like Destiny.
Yeah, yeah, I mean we're just it's a difficult position because like we're not going to like this is absolutely in no way an Anthem review or anything like that. It was just talking about the release of the game.
I mean, we will be doing a video about Anthem after we've played. Because, I mean, obviously, me and Liam played the alpha, which we're never allowed to talk about, apparently, ever. Genuinely, that's not even a joke. Not allowed to talk about it, ever. And then the beta, which we are allowed to talk about, and many people played, including yourself. But the full game's now out with all the patches, all the pizzazz, everything it needed. And, hopefully we can play a lot of that together and then get you our final verdict. But this is more about the sort of the event of the launch, right?
Absolutely. Well, there's just a few things that are worth talking about, I think. First of all is the sort of bizarre, I would say, sort of critical response it's had. Because it's... Well, let me put this into context for you. So Mass Effect Andromeda came out in sort of, in the same period of the year. Sort of
17, about Feb, March.
Yeah, it was like early on in the year. So, I think it was March 2017. Might be wrong, but it was early on. And that game got a 72. A game that
on Metacritic.
On Metacritic, yeah. So a game that was perceived to be such a critical failure that EA then went on to close down a studio.
And cancel all further plans for DLC and everything.
And that was 72. Anthem has got 60 on PC. Weirdly, there are no PS4 or Xbox One. There is no Metacritic rating yet for PS4 or Xbox One because obviously everyone's, like Jake was saying, everyone's who's reviewed it would have wanted to do it as early as possible and would have been playing the PC version because that was the version that you could sort of jump in early on.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we've ended up in a situation where a BioWare game that has taken years and years to develop, that EA has pumped loads of money in, marketing and things. Has got a 60 on Metacritic.
This is a huge marketing push, right, as well for them. So
that's lower than Andromeda, and look what happened after Andromeda.
Yeah, I mean, I know we don't have. Maybe you can find out if you wouldn't mind. But what's like the worst rated EA AAA game in the past 10 years? I think it might be this one at this point. 60's low for AAA because remember that they're coming at this with like hundreds of millions, so like if it's functional it's going to get a 7, and that's always the sort of criticism that I see online from certain people because games critics give games that a lot of players consider to be trash, sevens and stuff, and then the conversation normally goes in the way of you get points for being functional, and it's not without its problems, but at the end of the day it's still a 40-hour game. Like Mass Effect Andromeda, a lot of the bugbears with that were like the facial animations, which were fixed. I mean, of course the whole story and things like that can't be changed, but a lot of things are patched now. This isn't like a day one world anymore, is it? But I can't remember a AAA game getting a 6 or less in a long time, and I'm trying to think of any big studio now. I can think of a lot of AA titles and stuff, never AAA.
Yeah. No, I can't think of any either, to be honest.
So some of the some of the people are going in quite hard on it. Like Forbes has done a thing on Sunday, saying Anthem is out and BioWare is in trouble, and they've sort of done this sort of long piece about how basically doing what we're doing right now and just sort of deconstructing the response that it's had and the problems it's got, and then the Telegraph, the UK Telegraph newspaper, had a weird one as well. BioWare's looter shooter is a fractured, frustrating mess that I can't stop playing, and that's what I meant earlier on with it being a bit of a weird reaction, because I think some people actually really like it. I think there are people who are saying that it's a great sort of RPG experience and completely overlooking the shooting mechanics and the grind type thing, because they're seeing it as a it's an RPG that needs to be played over long, and they were expecting, maybe they got what they were expecting, and so they weren't as disappointed.
Well, it's interesting that you should say that, because some of the stuff, certainly from my end anyway, that I've seen has been the opposite. Like people saying, forget about the story, forget this, the single player is washed out, but the end game is where the fun really starts. Try and think of it like a Destiny style thing, and so to me that's just quite divisive. I mean, you've just said something, I've just said something, complete opposites. And these are well accounted opinions that are on the internet from like publications. This isn't like, Stephen428 on Twitter and that is it. Do you know what I mean? This is from the bit. There's no such thing as Stephen428, by the way.
Probably it's got to be.
I always, do you know what I would feel bad for? Right, whenever I'm always on about some FIFA playing guy, I always go straight for the name Stephen. I've only ever met nice Stephens in my life, and then there's a couple of Stephens that follow me on Twitter that always tweet me about this, and I feel like I am attacking them. So sorry to the Stephens of the world. I don't know why I go for you straight. I don't know why in my brain we go straight for the Stephens. But
finally, he's addressed the controversy.
yeah. I don't know what it is though. I think that people are either saying that the BioWare story side is lacking. Or they're saying this game's the best single player game. Ignore the multiplayer. This game is best played alone.
I want to know, I mean, I'm really keen to see if you're playing Anthem right now and you're listening to this podcast. If you're listening on YouTube especially, please tell us in the comments what you think about Anthem, because,
if
you don't have to be aggressive.
If you've played it, I feel like you'll be a lot less aggressive. Don't be like, sort of try and put the capital E and A into a word. Like
I'm banning the word bias right now. Right? Just don't use the word bias, because it's at this point it's meaningless.
Everybody kind of knows the opinion on Anthem already, because people are kind of laughing at the fact that it's a 60 who haven't bought it. Haha, glad I didn't spend my money on another EA car crash. Ha ha ha. But just if you've played it, if you've actually got it, let us know how you're getting on with it, okay? And it might be a regret purchase, you might be loving it, but I don't know, because it's interesting that people that I know have played it like it, and these are people that as far as I know, you guys just confirm it for me, because I think I'm right. Like the EA Access Super Duper Super. That's just. Do you play it early? Do you have to buy it to play it early, or is it just like
no? I think it's a subscription.
No, it's like a Game Pass style thing for the EA catalog.
Right. So people I know that have been playing it on that haven't bought it, so they're not trying to justify their purchase. They're just playing it, and they've been playing it all week. So
that's another thing. EA's got this thing now of charging £60, which is in the UK, which is a high price of entry. And that's like the baseline now for big EA releases. And if you get it at a discount price, relatively, it's still pretty high. Like it's 50 or above in a lot of places. Which usually, you'd expect to find a AAA game at about 45, 46 these days, which is only a few quid difference, but it does, psychologically, I think it makes a big difference when it's over 50 or like about 45. I think it makes a huge difference. There is a roadmap in place already, so BioWare's sort of, so this is the other big thing I wanted to talk about. They've announced already a 90-day roadmap of additions and changes and stuff. Starting next week, there's going to be 3 in-world events, this is the kind of stuff that is absolutely essential if you're going to I feel like they would have done this anyway, even if it had been a critical success. They would have had to get that live game thing going because people will complete it.
Yeah, that's what they wanted, isn't it? They wanted the Destiny killer.
Exactly. Right? So next week there's 3 in-world events and continue. There's a series of like updates through the month following that called Evolving World. So that's sort of part of it, I guess. In April there's going to be a Stronger Together, which is actually like the Wales football slogan,
it is
but
a slogan,
flipped around.
Yeah.
Together Stronger. Little Wales football fact for you there from a man with very limited knowledge. So Stronger Together is about enhancing interaction and competition in Anthem's multiplayer. So says Polygon. So that means a new stronghold, and these stronghold challenges are like I guess they're sort of, are they the strike equivalent? I reckon from Destiny.
A big fat mish that's supposed to be quite hard.
Yeah. Mish being mission for people from beyond North Wales. So, and that's in April, and there's going to be also legendary missions, and a new progression system, and then 7.
What? A new progression system?
Yeah, like leaderboards, sort of leaderboards, not like. I think it's more like, like
90 days later, we're going to change out the core progression mechanic.
No,
like
in Destiny, I think it's like you get
like Valor or whatever point.
You've got different. Right, yeah. I think that's what I read.
Be a different type of XP, maybe.
That's what I read,
you know what I mean?
But we might be totally wrong. So tell us. And then in May, the Anthem Cataclysm sort of event starts, which is another free play event, new missions and rewards. Not really much else to go on there, but the point is there is 3 months of stuff happening, positive stuff.
Okay,
I don't think, right. So Forbes is saying BioWare's in trouble. I don't think they are just yet. I think I reckon the sales of this will be quite good. I think a lot of people will have picked this up.
Yeah, I think
despite because I think there's still like Twitch streamers and stuff and people playing it, and there's enough of a buzz and there's enough market in there to make sure people are buying it. Whereas with Andromeda, it was like mockery, and it was like people going, this is a joke, this is a disaster, and the tone of the whole conversation online was totally different. This has been a critical failure, there's no doubt about that, right? 60 on Metacritic.
Yeah, when you say critical, you mean as far as critics are concerned.
Yeah, as far as video game reviewers are concerned, this is not good on the whole.
Yeah,
but
critical failure sounded like a rocket ship failing.
The engines are like stalling out. So it's been a failure, but there are people sort of playing it and having a nice time with it, crucially. And because of that sort of live element that gives you hope that there's something to go on in the future, you didn't have that with Andromeda. With Andromeda, you had like, maybe that hopefully they'll patch it and fix some things up, but then they kind of didn't, and then the studio closed down, and then end of story. So. Where do we go from here with BioWare? Do you reckon? What do you think? I reckon they're all right.
It's a very tough one, I think.
Go on, Liam. What do you think of this?
I think it'll be how well they implement this roadmap, if they live up to it. And I think player retention will play a big part in it as well. Because if no one's playing the game, I don't think they're going to invest time and resources into all these updates and patches when they're literally putting it out for an audience of no one. Yeah. So I think a lot of it is resting on if Anthem can retain these players from the end game, which a lot of them are at now, into the future. So if everyone just like drops off it, I think BioWare might be in a bit of trouble then.
Yeah, and I think so will EA really, because they're just putting money into stuff that isn't working, and they've had Apex Legends, which has been a respawn sort of stroke of genius, and EA has facilitated that and let that happen, and they
apparently they had no hand in either.
But they could have cocked it up somehow, like everyone seems to think they have done in the past with different things. EA cops the shit for a lot of things that go wrong, but I think this being a big failure is not good for EA either. Even in the situation they are now because imagine if Apex Legends wasn't there, EA's looking pretty weak in terms of like quality stuff at the moment.
Yeah. What was the last big game before this? Battlefield 5,
I guess.
Yeah, but even that had sort of a muted reception.
Yeah. And again, kind of par for the course now with EA. Like they're just putting out like roadmaps. Battlefield 5 crucially didn't have rushing, which is like, you might like.
That's rush.
Yeah.
In.
game mode.
It didn't have Rush inside the game. Yeah. So Rush is a game mode.
I just thought maybe it would have sounded like you said. It didn't have the Russian voice pack in there or something.
Like the Russian front.
No Russian. That's a different game. Exactly. That was bad. But yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2 had this roadmap, and here's all the free content we're going to be giving you. Battlefield 5 has that. So they're adding Rush game mode in there. There's the sort of Battle Royale game mode being added.
Oh yeah, Firestorm.
I don't seem to see much fanfare about any of the roadmap implementation at all, really.
For Anthem?
For any EA game in the past.
I think it's worked out alright for Battlefront 2. People seem to be quite warm on that. Especially when they started doing stuff like the Clone Wars and
I reckon if you're still playing Battlefront 2 beyond the you're just going to be but you're just going to be loving whatever comes your way, because it's a lot of content. It's not like it's not, there is patches and fixes and balance changes and stuff, but there's stuff, like you said, Liam, there's Clone Wars stuff in there, whatever. So there's a lot of stuff in there to enjoy because you'd be on board with it anyway if you're already
I suppose so. Yeah, that's the thing though, isn't it? That's what I mean. Like, it's a roadmap enough to get people interested, and normally the answer is kind of no, unless you were interested anyway. Like Apex Legends has got a 90-day roadmap as well. Same sort of thing, new events, new guns, new legends.
Tens of millions of people playing it.
Yeah, it costs nothing. So
Assassin's Creed Odyssey has a roadmap, and that's mainly a single player game.
Yeah. It's sort of par for the course. Yeah,
that's what I mean. And EA is sort of champion this. Here's our game, but no matter what you think of it now, here's what it's going to be like in 90 days, and so that might instill some hope into people that haven't played it. As for like whether or not BioWare are done, I don't think so. Oh, of course not. The thing about BioWare
I don't think they're done.
No, I don't.
But in trouble in some sense.
Possibly
maybe.
not. No, this is a hit and a miss, depending on who you ask. But for a lot of people, it's a miss, right? BioWare's output hasn't been like groundbreaking in a couple of years. A lot of people would argue critically and commercially. So I think the only way that BioWare's been affected by this maybe is it's just added another kind of few thousand people that maybe now, if someone says, "Oh, there's a new BioWare coming out," it might not like spark that same excitement that you would if you asked someone. If you told someone 10 years ago BioWare are doing a new game, you'd be like, "Oh, no way!"
Yeah,
that's kind of CD Projekt now.
You come off the back of Mass Effect 2, and you get like people anticipating Mass Effect 3, one of the most anticipated sort of AAA single player experiences possibly ever because of how good Mass Effect 2 was.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
If, like 10 years ago you said, so Mass Effect 2, and by the way, they're going to be doing Mass Effect but in a high fantasy set, and everyone's like, "Oh my god." And imagine if they said, "And hey, they're doing another game with mech suits." Everyone would be like, "Well," but now, what could I say to you about BioWare's next game that would make you actually go, "Holy shit, I need to find out more"? Watch this. BioWare, are doing the next Lord of the Rings RPG. Do you know what I mean?
Shit.
See, so that's the only thing. But there's always hope, and they might do a great game. Do you know what I mean? If they truly are the Bob Dylan of video games or whatever, Bob Dylan didn't always have great albums.
Ubisoft has proved with live games that things can be actually very, very good after an underwhelming launch. So
absolutely.
Who knows what the situation is going to be in a while. The reviews are still coming in. There's still no console Metacritic average yet. So who knows? Maybe the PlayStation and Xbox sort of response will be a bit warmer. You don't know. You really don't know. Things with live games change quickly. I've got to say, I am looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing. That's it, isn't it? No Man's Sky, Destiny 2, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege. These are all
games.
These are all games with one huge thing in common. Like, a lot of people hated them at first, and then they got better. Everyone would agree that most of those games. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure most would agree.
Yeah, that those games all improved, and their scores are probably lower than what they're worth now. I don't know what No Man's Sky's Metacritic is, but I'm pretty sure it's better than a 4 out of 10 now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's the Anthem launch. I mean, we were saying earlier, we will be playing it throughout this week, and we'll try and come up with some interesting sort of talking point to discuss later on. But we're not like reviewing it or anything. That's sort of
a look at what happened, which
Yeah, I mean it's difficult to. I think it shows how slow the reviews are coming out. It's quite a difficult game to review anyway. But we'll be talking about Anthem, our personal thoughts and feelings and stuff later on. Is the point. So let's talk about Reggie. Reggie's gone.
God bless him.
Reggie Fils-Aime, I think is how you say it. announced his retirement as head of Nintendo of America this week after 15 years in charge. Yeah. He's very much a very sort of public, figurehead face sort of thing for Nintendo. He's the Western face of Nintendo, I guess you'd say. Replaced by a guy called Doug Bowser. Once again, haha, Bowser, you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Get it?
Yeah.
I know. There was like 15 headlines with the exact words "Bowser takes over Nintendo," or you know what I mean, or something like that.
I had to just go off Twitter that day. Every news article I saw making the same joke.
Yeah, and even the same graphics. Like they had the same Bowser coming out PNG. It obviously just went Bowser PNG, and there's one good one on Google, and then everyone's used the same fucking one.
No actual Doug Bowser as well. You know what I mean?
It
is pretty funny, isn't it? But we don't need to tell you that as a headline.
It's just one of them that's just so easy, it doesn't work. It's like if your name was Jake Shithead. You can't make fun of a person called Jake Shithead for having the surname Shithead.
I thought you were going to go somewhere like, imagine if Terry Master Chief was taking over Xbox or something like that.
No, but
Sean Bandicoot or something.
It's just you can't use someone's surname against them if it's that obvious. Yeah. If it's like Mike Turdmaster, right? You just can't.
What I want to really know is that the higher ups that decided that Bowser gets in.
Was that a plus on his
Somebody
CV?
must have
a plus or a minus.
If it was between Michael Larry or Doug Bowser, you've gone. What is it?
That was definitely a positive in there.
It would be kind of funny, wouldn't it, guys? Surely someone's had a laugh about it, and I want to know. I want that to be confirmed. I want to just know someone went.
The board of directors.
Yeah.
Just
I want Doug to speak out on it. Guys are
isn't it amazing, right? Yeah. This is what I was saying to you initially, right? Isn't it amazing that a guy called Bowser even got a job at Nintendo? Do you know what I mean? The statistical chance of it happening.
No.
And then
because it's not a very common last name, is it, Bowser?
And then he's in charge, and it's moments like these that make me wonder, this is not real. This is the Matrix. How can that possibly... Anyway, Reggie had some nice words to say on departing. He said, quote, "Nintendo owns a part of my heart forever. It's a part that is filled with gratitude for the incredibly talented people I've worked with, for the opportunity to represent such a wonderful brand, and most of all, to feel like a member of the world's most positive and enduring gamer community." Not always, Reggie. Don't say anything bad about Breath of the Wild.
I think that's specifically about everyone that had to sit through the Wii U, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is a nice sort of statement to say. He also said, "As I look forward to departing in both good health and good humour, this is not game over for me, but instead levelling up to more time with my wife, family and friends." What a nice thing to say. Typical... classic Reggie.
It is classic Reggie. Mm-hmm. My favourite Reggie quote is something about when the PS3 was about, and they announced it at $600, and he said, "I like to thank Sony for opening the door for me, and I'll drive a truck through that door." Basically, they were a bit more open about their competitive, their competitive natures and stuff.
Yeah.
And Reggie was basically they were saying you nervous about PlayStation 3, and it was not with that price point kind of thing.
Yeah,
he was he has a lot of charisma about him.
Yeah,
he's got
does,
an aura, hasn't he? And Phil Spencer can wear as many leather jackets and be as lovely as he wants because he's a cool guy. But he's no Reggie, is he? And no. Sean Layden, let's not even come on. It's Reggie, man.
Sean Laybot. He's
Sean Layden. Yeah, just let's change our PSN.
What was it where they were the three of them on stage together?
It was the Game Awards, and it was the first time that all three of them had been there together. Yeah. And one person stood out as a charismatic hero. But that's the thing. You know what I mean?
But they all did the same hand movements. They're all doing that during the speech.
Yeah,
it's like business executive training.
They all went through the same fucking corporate 101, isn't it?
It's from the CEO handbook, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally the handbook. That's so fucking...
right. So his last day is April the 15th, so he's working a notice period. In case you were interested. He's been in the news a lot because of being quoted and stuff, but he's also been central to their E3 showings and stuff, and he's been taking part in Nintendo Direct and having a bit of fun with that a few times.
He's been me and my brother have watched E3 for years now, nearly a decade, and it is getting
just make a tradition out of it and you watch it.
Yeah, and we'd always look forward to Reggie.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's, and this is, again, during the Wii U period where, we had one, but still, it's even then, Reggie can make you go, oh, what a lad.
Yeah.
I'm a big Reggie fan. And it's what's so funny, though, and this says, if you're not that familiar with him, He's a guy, who's just like basically quit his job. Big deal. Why is it a big deal? It's not, but it's because it's Reggie. So if you don't know who he is, then it doesn't make any sense.
There aren't many, corporate heads that would make sort of, widespread sort of entertainment news. I mean, gaming news is basically entertainment news, isn't it? And
he's a borderline meme, I think. That's what it is.
He probably is. There's countless memes and gifs and shit like that. I mean,
my body is ready thing. You know what I mean? Like,
What a nice guy anyway. And he's replaced by Doug Bowser. My number one question now is, how is Nintendo gonna have a bit of a laugh with the Doug Bowser thing? He's going to be on the next Nintendo Direct.
If he's not in costume,
exactly.
This is my son, Larry. This is my daughter, Wendy. He goes through all 7 kids. That'd be good.
And he's going to be.
Bowser's got 7 kids, guys. Not just Bowser Jr.
Thanks. There's going to be something. He's going to be wearing like the shell as a jacket or something like that.
Imagine that. Imagine he just the normal presentation all the way through. He says bye the parts. He's got a shell on his back.
That's what I was going to say, man. That's what I was going to say. So
why aren't we writing for Doug?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
If they do that, then someone give us money. We'll sort your branding out. So that's the Reggie story. One other little thing we wanted to talk about was.
Oh, sure. Oh, right. Okay. I'm doing
Eastshade.
Eastshade. Yeah. You never sounded any
Tell me about this. Eastshade.
What's that thing again you've been playing? The game box.
Nintendo Swatch, was it?
That's it. Smartwatch, Dad. It's the Eastshade game I've been playing has made me very, very happy, but I don't know if it's really going to be that interesting enough to put in a separate video.
This sounds like spam email. Eastshade has made me very, very happy.
Well, listen,
it can make you happy too. Click here to find out.
It's like a cult.
I'll tell you something. To be quite honest with you, any nice feedback I get from people is normally about me recommending a little game to them that like they've not heard of, and I like that. So I just wanted to sort of talk about a new one that I've been enjoying. It's called Eastshade. Okay, it's just made by this really small team, Eastshade Studios, I think they're called, and like they're 3 people. This is their debut game, and it's like an open world RPG exploration game, right?
Here's a question, little side note: has any studio ever? These are called Eastshade Studios, let's say, right?
Yes.
And then imagine they made a game that wasn't called Eastshade first, and then made a game called Eastshade second.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Has any studio ever done that?
Oh, right, yeah. Like
they've self-titled album.
Fable 2 Studios.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they made black and white.
Yeah, that's what I want to know, man. Someone give me the facts on that. Sorry.
So no, it's all right. So Eastshade is an open world exploration RPG. It's an exploration RPG because it doesn't feature combat actually, which is nice every now and then.
It's a walking simulator.
It's not a walking simulator, mate. It's not a walking simulator. Right? Not walking simulators.
I'm asking.
No. They're like narrative-driven experiences, aren't they? A walking simulator.
Right.
There's no real state of failure. Right. You just walk through it and they tell you a nice story, like Firewatch and stuff like that. This actually isn't, because there is a game mechanic, a very interesting.
Is there a great deal of walking in it?
But yes, so Skyrim does as well. But do you know what I mean? It's not that. What happens?
But no, people tag, in Steam tags. That's where it came from, isn't it? Any game that just had you walking loads.
Oh, okay. Skyrim does have. It's got a toggle for constant walk, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that like Skyrim and any sort of first-person game is
that considered a walking simulator? Okay.
Well, no, it's not a walking simulator, but it has walking simulator elements.
Yeah, the walking. So yeah, there is walking in it, but the actual focus of the game is that you're an artist and you've landed on an island. You're shipwrecked. You land on an island, and you paint the vistas that you see. What's interesting about this?
You sort of walk between.
Yeah, there's walking in it. Yeah, there is walking in it. So the vistas are whatever you want them to be. It's quite interesting. It's like photo mode the game. You'd quite like it, I think. You go around and you've got this huge island to explore, and you're just looking for basically photo opportunities. Then you can paint them, and you don't have to worry about being artistic or creative really when it comes to the painting, because you're not doing any of that. You're basically selecting the easel. Mm-hmm. Like it comes up, and you have to basically select what's in frame. So you get the composition right, and then you click it, a portrait or a landscape, and your guy will paint it. And then you can sell that to get some money, to get some more stuff, to do some quests, or you can give it to somebody. You can commission it, try and get it commissioned if your art's that good. I'm not sure how the algorithm works that marks this sort of stuff, but obviously, like, do you know, like, I don't know, Pokemon Snap or whatever? Like, you got points for, like, the Pikachu doing a backflip or something. You know what I mean? It's like that. Like, it somehow knows what's good and what's not, and it's very clever. I don't know how exactly it works. But you basically go around, but it's turning what often in an RPG is the downtime, the walking bit, to you're constantly thinking, there's a mountain over there and the sun's coming. If I can run up to this mountain and get that picture quickly, that'll look really cool. So
that's actually a really interesting point. That how do they sort of program the rating?
Yeah,
to tell you that it's good or not. Because I remember, I think it was like Dead Rising.
Yeah.
Where you had, photography was a big part of that. And so if you're like chopping the shit out of a zombie and then quickly whip your camera out and take a pphoto dead close and there's like, the head's coming off or something, you get loads of, that's how you gained experience in that game.
Yeah.
And I always was wondering at that time as well, how do they... what's the criteria of how good a photo is?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
I'm assuming proximity and
this is what I was trying to figure out. But when it's landscape and it's a little bit more fluid, I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess it could be looking at photo composition rules, like the rule of thirds and stuff like golden ratio, stuff like that. How crowded the picture is. But maybe it's something maybe one of the art commissioners happens to have a bias towards water landscapes, so you'll get bonus points if it can detect water. I'm not sure how it works, but so you're not thinking of this mechanical sort of thing. You're thinking of the sort, because it's kind of like a medieval, it's like a fantasy world full of animal kind of people, like a red wall, if anyone knows what I'm on about, and you're basically going around just having a night. It's very relaxing. It's very good for that. You can do quests for people. I'll tell you one, you're going to like this. There's a quest that I had to do and someone wanted me to capture them a portrait of despair. So I took a painting of a homeless person, gave it them in. They were like, that satisfied me, that, thank you.
Yes.
There's some there's some funny characters. There was a guy his head was stuck in a pot because he was looking for change, and he was struggling to get out. I thought if I took a picture of him, would that be despair, or would that be quite funny because he's got a pot on his head? So it's a very ambitious project to do a 3D game as your debut. The graphics are Oblivion-esque. It does feel like a game of the last gen. The graphics aren't fantastic, but what they do with the lighting and the stuff like that for the pictures is fantastic. The water looks really cool and stuff like that, and the world is amazing because obviously it needs to be, because it needs to give the player that interest and that sort of, and the world needs to allow you to go, I wonder what that would look like from this angle, and you can go into a cave or get to the top of a cliff to get a picture. But it's brilliant. It's got kind of there's a town that's got kind of a, I don't know, like a King's Landing vibe to it in colour and stuff like that from Game of Thrones, yeah? And you could become a painter that only paints architecture or just people. It's like a photographer, you could just do landscape, you could do wilderness.
Yeah.
It's something...
Quite a big world, then, is it?
It's big enough because you're walking the whole time there. Yeah. There's no horse or any other means of travel, so you're
it's
on...
not a horse simulator, is it?
One island. Exactly that, mate, yeah. And it's about 8 to 10 hours long. So
pretty meaty then. That's,
it's if you want to find out more, and the price varies depending on where you get it, but it's all, I think it's PC exclusive for now.
It is.
But it's something I'd recommend if you want sort of that kind of, I don't know, something quite stress free, like a 2 Point Hospital or Stardew Valley, something like that. And it's interesting to see how they tackle an open world RPG game without combat, because that is so ingrained into the mechanics of a game like that. Anything that explores, how do you make it exciting when you're walking from point A to B? Wolves attack you. This one, it's like, why don't we make point B the interest by trying to shoot it from an angle? Well, obviously, you're not shooting, you're painted, remember?
Yeah. Well, I mean, photography and stuff like that is part of, there's like a long tradition of it, isn't it? And there's even Final Fantasy 15 and things that are fairly recent. Taking photos being a part of the game and not just having a photo mode in there, which every game has now.
Yeah.
It's still part. You can still make a game out of that, just trying to capture images. And stuff.
Where the role play comes in is either you can decide to make friends along the way and give your blooming paintings to people as gifts, or you can try and become a commissioned artist. And it's quite cool if you give your paintings to art commissioners that you'll go to a pub to try and get some more quests, and you might see your painting and stuff like that, and so you might want to become just some sort of successful artist. So you might just want to talk to everyone in a town and exhaust all the quests. But it's really nice, Sunday afternoon game kind of thing, and I'd really recommend checking it out if you want that sort of experience. But if you don't get it.
Yep. Okay, that's Eastshade. It's on PC. It came out on the 13th of February, so it's been out a little while. It's got 81 on Metacritic.
Oh yeah, it's about that. I'd give it a 7-8. Yeah, it's only been out a couple of weeks now.
Very good, very good. So let's read out some emails then. This one's from Jack Gordon. Little request, by the way. I know I'm doing these requests like every week with these emails now.
Is this an email from our specific category Dear Special Moves, which will be on screen right
now?
Yeah.
I was just gonna I was trying to do something a bit different, just fluidly go into the emails, and then at the end, because I'm quite aware that every time I'm like, Dear Special Moves, tell us this, give me that. I want good quality, So I just wanted to just seamlessly go into the emails this time. I'll see how that works.
And I've just ruined it, haven't I?
Yeah, but I was in the middle of making requests, so I already sort of broke my own rule. But anyway, tell us where you're from. We get your name because you send us emails, but tell us your name and tell us where you're from. Just country, like town, city, whatever, just so we can, get a sense of...
Street name's not important, is it? But
like house number, optional.
That's it,
so this is from Jack Gordon. Jack says, Dear Special Moves, sometimes when I get home after a long day of university and or working out, all right, Jack.
Oh, yeah, Jack.
I really can't.
Mate.
A long day.
Fucking hell, Jack, what are you doing, mate?
I'm putting us all to shame, man. I really can't find the energy to continue playing my latest game. For me, it's currently Resident Evil 2. The thought of putting myself through the stressful situation that is exploring the police station can sometimes be too much. Quite often, all I want to do is lie down and watch some quality YouTube channel. You put a little wink face there.
Oh.
I think he's talking about us, you guys.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the fact it's a horror game as opposed to other genres. So I think this is an interesting one from Jack, because I get this a lot. Like after work, if you've been sat in an office or doing whatever you do for
working out
for 8 hours, maybe. I'm sat in the office for 8 hours, and then you come home, you have a bit of tea, or whatever. Maybe you sit down, and you watch like one episode of telly of something, and then at that point, I feel like it's like I've got to restart to get to play a game. Do you know what I mean? I need like motivation to play a game, and that's not every day, but I just get that a lot. Like after just coming home from work or something, unless it's like a Friday night and I'm not doing anything or whatever, and I'll like watch a movie or something, and I can stay up quite late playing games.
Yeah.
I don't, just because it's Friday, even though I'm like knackered from the week and stuff. It's just I can do that, but. Generally speaking, I a lot of the time I totally get this. I get like this feeling of like, I just can't be bothered. Especially if it's something like Resident Evil. If it's Apex Legends, like or something which I've banged on about loads, Destiny, I can just fire it up, shoot some stuff, not think too much about it, feel great, and then put it off. Violence is fantastic.
But it has to be recreational, relaxed violence.
Yeah, specifically shooting things in the head as well is good. But I'm joking.
When they don't pose that much of a threat to you as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Would you like? We've managed to play Apex Legends more than a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe because it's just so easy to just play it. It's really quick to get into a game. You jump out of the fucking thing.
You only need 3 fucking people.
You only need 3 people.
Which is a nice trend.
Which is a great number for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And it hasn't been a problem. I've enjoyed it. I mean, what do you think about this? Liam, I imagine, Liam, you would disagree with this.
No, I don't actually. Sometimes I'll do something all day, get home, and then just like stare at the PS4 or the PC or whatever. And I just
wait a minute.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Is it on or are you just looking at it?
No, like it's on. Like say I'll be like I feel like playing a game. I'll go on Steam and I'll just stare at like the library. Yeah, it's a bit of that in it as well. And then I'll just be like, no, I'm just going to watch The Office for the 5th time. I didn't say The Office, but when I said watch an episode of television earlier, that's exactly what I meant.
It's always The Office.
You just watch an episode of The Office or something, you're having your tea.
So instead of playing like an hour of a game, or something like Resident Evil, where you can make a decent chunk of progress in an hour, it's just like, no, I'll go watch 4 hours of whatever American sitcom I'm on at the time.
I get that a lot.
I don't think you're alone,
Yeah, no, I think it's a common thing. I mean, you seem quite like... keen, like you jump on new stuff a lot, like you jump on Eastshade just because it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the only game that I felt like that with is
like Jack's saying here. Like
is Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, it felt like loading that up was a 5-minute job, and then it was like remembering where the fuck Dutch is, and like where am I?
And why you cared about him?
What am I? The thing is for me, like, I mean, first of all, Jack, the situation that you're in right now is that game asks a lot of you because it's puzzles, it's surviving, and it's horror. Right? It's three things that one of them would be quite a lot, like a horror game, a survival game, or a puzzle game are all quite brain intensive. 3 at once though, and not much else, is a lot to ask. You need to be on for that, don't you?
Resident Evil is like this movie-like experience for me because it's, you know, you can beat it in like 3 or 4 hours if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's quite a tight sort of, you know, it's not a sprawling open world. It doesn't daunt you in the way that Red Dead Redemption absolutely does.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think there's another email about Red Dead Redemption, so I'll try and hold that. But Red Dead Redemption absolutely makes you think, fuck, I've got like another 50 hours of this stuff and I don't know what I'm doing. It's going to take me 45 minutes to get to the mission. Well, that's
another thing, isn't it? If you've been at the office all day and you feel like your time... I know it sounds silly because we're just playing games, obviously, but if you feel... Like, for example, Resident Evil, I finished it 4 times in a week with my baby sleeping on me, Boom. Because it's a short game. I felt like every time I was doing it, it was a different experience. It was a different thing. Those 4 hours... it took me about 12 hours, 13 hours to do it 4 times. If I put that into Red Dead, I would have probably got another chapter in or whatever. So, that's what I'm like. And Binding of Isaac was my most played game on PlayStation when we saw the stats. And that's because it's just brain off, turn it on. I can have Spotify on or whatever, you know, other music shit's available. Spotify on or whatever.
Yeah.
And do that. But for me, often, I play a lot of games that kind of intended to relax. Indie games are kind of that thing. And that's why I play so many of them. Eastshade I jumped on because it was relaxing. That is my coffee break game, you know what I mean? And that's what I call them, because there's 2 types of games. There's a challenge game for me and there's a relaxation game for me, and I find a lot of the games I play are quite slower paced, so to be honest, as long as it's not Bloodborne, you know what I mean, I'm up for anything any time.
And that's what's really interesting about it. I think, you know, even if you look at The Office, I think you would sit there and watch 4 hours of The Office. Would you watch a 3.5 hour film?
Yeah, or you could watch probably 2 films in that time, but that feels like 2 events.
You probably wouldn't go, I'm committing to this 3.5 hours, because you're not committing to that 4 hours of The Office. You're just taking it half an hour at a time.
Yeah.
And then you just think, watch another one. And you end up doing it. And it's the same with Destiny, and it's the same with these like lighter games. You'll just hop on Apex Legends, end up playing it for 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, except that's what happened the other night. I was playing it, I was in work earlier. I said to you guys, let's have one more game. We did 4 more games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because because we kept dying immediately. But it's really interesting. I think that sort of the psychology that's going on of like
bite-sized chunks.
Yeah, and because I'm so driven by how I feel all the time. I'm really not one of these people who's like, right, I've got like an hour here, I'll get through another hour. I will just do whatever I want to do for that hour if I've got a spare hour.
Yeah.
And even if I really want to keep playing and keep driving through Red Dead Redemption, if I'm just more drawn for no reason whatsoever to Apex Legends, I would play Apex Legends.
Yeah, that's basically what's happened to me for 2 weeks. Yeah, I've only played Eastshade and Apex Legends for 2 weeks because I can't stop playing it. I had an hour and a half yesterday before work where I had Anthem installed, but out of respect for the game, like I don't want to play an hour and a half, come and have a little shitty opinion.
No, I agree with that.
You know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think Jack's alone, and I don't think some people always say that and say, you know, do I not like video games or something anymore? Am I growing older? Because it's not when you're contending with other things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just look at Netflix. So the Netflix has its own exact same problem that the company is. You know, investing millions in trying to optimize the flipping recommendations and stuff that it gives people because people can't choose what to watch.
Yeah,
it's the same.
Yeah. It's the same. Just overwhelmed.
Yeah, because there's just so much things that are trying to compete for your time now. That's a great email. Thank you. Thanks, Jack. This next one's from Brandon Pollard from Atlanta. Nice one, Brandon. Dear Special Moves, first time writing you guys. Wanted to start off by letting you know that Special Moves is the greatest gaming channel of all time, and your podcast makes me almost look forward to my Monday morning slog through city traffic. That's very nice, Brandon.
Nice one, man. Thanks very much, man.
He says, my Special Moves credentials are as follows. I was the second person on iTunes to leave a review, and I haven't missed the podcast yet.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
There's some depth in this email. It was quite good. All right, you can imagine my dismay then when your opinions weren't perfectly aligned with mine on Red Dead Redemption 2 being a revelation and almost everything I wanted in a sequel. Better story, beautiful animations, gorgeous scenery, amazing attention to detail, just the works. All I can say is that I was hurt, truly. And it wasn't just you. Yeah. Games media across the board criticised it almost universally. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Yeah. Even while simultaneously giving it great review scores. That's a very interesting point, which we'll talk about. While I'm glad it got high marks, it does seem odd that it didn't get lower review scores just based on the polarization of it and how many people didn't enjoy it so much. I can certainly understand how Red Dead 2 wouldn't be some gamer's cup of tea. However, the main thing that really affected me was how many people didn't like the game that much. Now, this is the really interesting part of the email. The loss of community surrounding the game after release impacted my enjoyment the most. Don't get me wrong, I still love the game and played it to the end, but I remember playing God of War earlier that year, and on top of just absolutely loving the hell out of that game, I remember feeling a bond with friends and fellow gamers as we were pretty much on the same page, playing it and loving every second of it. That's very interesting.
That's the end of the email.
Yeah, that's the end of the email.
That's a really, really good email, obviously.
Great email, Brandon. Thanks. That's enjoying stuff together at the same time as other people.
Absolutely.
Or together. That implies some sort of lack of empathy for me there.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Some sort of a weird alignment
with these other people.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of it, and that's the beauty of video games, and that's the beauty of any hobby and anything like that. As much as you might have a different opinion of people, that validation of someone liking the same thing that you like and being passionate about it is like one of the best human interactions you can have.
Yeah.
A lot of people are friends with people because they have things in common. So there's a base level emotional core shit that is like, boom. Now, with Red Dead Redemption, the game's a fucking novel. I haven't finished it. I've uninstalled it because it's taking up so much space on my PS4, Liam has basically told me like the majority of what happened as it happened, and I don't know the spoiler at the end, and I'm not going to know.
Majority because he hasn't just had enough time to tell you everything that happens.
Exactly.
So many things.
Like counting the great tales.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Liam's telling me a chapter at a time.
Yeah.
I think that the time it demands is the divisive opinion. Although I'm playing it and I can't not recommend it to people. It is a good game. It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's doing everything.
I don't think anyone doubts that there is an unbelievably high bar in a lot of ways.
And that's so interesting about his email, because he's so right. Like, loads of people, like, even me, like, if someone said, what's Red Dead Redemption out of 10, I'd say, like, I don't know, an 8.59.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Can't even finish it.
But I like it about a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
But, like, I know it's great and I know it's good.
Yeah.
But something about it, and I think it's about this time, it's the momentum issue and lack thereof, it means that I can't get behind it fully and, like, and you guys, like, Liam had to dart around the issue when he'd finished it and couldn't spoil it. Then you finished it, and now you both don't talk about it because I've done it. And that's the complete opposite of what happened with God of War. God of War, I finished it, waited for you to finish it, which was like, Liam finished it about within hours. I don't know.
I finished it in 3 days.
And then you finished it the day after. Yeah. And I was like, Mike, wait till you get to the bit,
Yeah.
And then we talked about the bit, and it was a great discussion. Yeah. I felt very good about it. Can't do that with Red Dead.
And let me tell you this as well. I don't know why, but if I had no problem finding time for God of War, because you would constantly feel, even though there were these sort of open areas where you would just sort of meandering around and do whatever you want, you always felt like you were getting somewhere. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Red Dead Redemption, I think the reason, you can see that it is clearly a 9 or a 10 in like technical terms, in storytelling terms, the way that it does, really. It's like amazing quality of life stuff that you just don't. That now I'm already taking for granted playing Metro Exodus, and I'm wondering why is this taking so long to happen? Why is this why is this? Because everything's so smooth in Red Dead Redemption. You just walk up to characters, and before you know it, you're in a really good cinematic cutscene.
Yeah,
and it's utterly seamless. There's like no loading whatsoever. Amazing gaming storytelling, like
fantastic
techniques and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The dialogue system is amazing.
But if you can play it for an hour and really feel like you didn't get anywhere, that's the problem for a lot of people. If you're working full time, if you're studying and working or whatever, if you've got a lot of spare time, if you can spare a week and just play the shit out of it, then I imagine it's an unbelievably good experience.
Yeah, it feels like it's been paced like a screenplay or something like that.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's like it revolves around these big events, and but unfortunately, unlike a screenplay, it'll take hours and hours to get to these big events. So if you pop in for the equivalent of a paragraph, and it's uneventful, they don't care because it's not been written like that. It's been written for you to sit there and play it one chapter at a time, which is in about like 5 to 6 hour chunks, right? Mm-hmm. Because the highs that I've seen playing that game, like the good moments, are really good. Like whoa, like, you know.
It's got a really televisual pace to it.
It's like an entire run of a TV show condensed into a game. Like you think a 5-season TV show, it's like that.
Yeah, it makes you think if they'd somehow sold it like that, if they'd somehow Telltale Games it and given you chapters at a time or something, like like it released series over. Perhaps it would have gone down, different. I mean, it's got really high Metacritic scores, but I think maybe people might have felt differently if it was packaged differently. I'm not saying that I want that to happen.
Yeah, it's because it's less guidance. So, like Game of Thrones, for example, biggest TV show. Again, I mentioned it earlier, so I'll just keep on rather than talk about another TV show. Yeah. Biggest TV show in the world, right? Most people have seen it. I say most, Liam. You're the exception here, but you still know exactly what I'm on about. Mm-hmm. They give you the fucking story in their terms, an hour, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine if you were just turning it on and watching it in 20-minute chunks, and like maybe like one of the 20 minutes was like the first 5 minutes, the last 10 minutes of an episode, and then the first 10 minutes of another episode, right? That would be an event bit. But then what happens if you played that next 20 minutes 3 weeks later? And then you'd be like, I understand it's great, but something about the pacing, something off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not designed to be gamed like that, and that is what is,
because you're in control of the pacing, you're in control of how much you play and when. And if you binge it, clearly people enjoy it a lot more when they binge it compared to when they play it when they haven't got enough time to play it more than an hour a day or something. And it's just it's a really interesting case. But I think the end point that you made there about the enjoying stuff together, I think that's really good, and it's something that it's definitely true of us. I think we probably get more out of games when we're just talking. Like, would I have enjoyed Apex Legends so much if I wasn't talking to you about it, instead if I was just firing it up and having a spin of it? Resident Evil 2. Yeah. How much are we talking about Resident Evil 2? Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's part of the
That's what it's all joy. About for me, you know. Half of it is enjoying it myself. The other half is about hearing other people that enjoyed it or talking about it.
Yeah. And there's certain games that really lend themselves really well to that, like Bethesda titles and stuff are amazing for that, like, conversation of have you seen this, have you found this and stuff. But anyway, great email, thanks Brandon. One more then maybe from Michael D, who says, Dear Special Moves, this is quite interesting actually, I'm a firm lover of custom content, maps, modes, weapons, or even full-blown mods and expansions. The idea of creating something to add to the longevity and depth of a game has always appealed to me. Shortly after I bought the Orange Box on PC a decade ago, I learned about Hammer, the editor for Valve's Source Engine games. I began with Portal, and to this day I still have my first ever map from over 10 years ago. It is utter shite, ugly and barely functional, but it was a stepping stone into the world of custom maps and content that blew me away. I'd spend hours learning and analysing how levels were paced and the design tricks involved. I've since become far better, even proud of some levels I've created for several of Valve's games, and it's still a hobby I return to when I'm feeling creative. I've never released maps I've made, but I do enjoy making them. However, I'm sad I have to return to older titles to have that experience now. Sadly, games nowadays just don't ship with some form of modding tool. I feel like the devs should consider such things. It's the reason the likes of Doom, Quake and Skyrim have been able to keep players so long. Doom 2016 did have Snap Map, and while it was neat on the surface, I felt like the limitations came fast. Cheers for your time. Love the show. Keep it up, you sexy shits.
Oh, that's a very good email.
Snap Map is what my is what people say for like Snapchat.
Oh yeah.
But as a joke around my family for some reason. That's like a thing. That's like a little Williams family meme there.
Yeah. Nice. For the lore is deep.
Snap Map. If you ever that's instead of Snapchat. Anyway. No one will understand what that is in reference to.
Shouts out Mike's mum.
Yeah. So custom content. I've never got into like modding or anything or making maps. I've tried a bit, but I just haven't got the patience.
I did a little bit with. Do you remember Gmod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only a tiny bit. I used to just make stupid shit in it, like robots out of shipping containers and stuff.
Yeah. So more like creative for a laugh rather than stuff
more like Minecrafty type stuff. Yeah. I've never like got into the deep depths of like programming or like AI scripting or anything like that.
I did look at Far Cry Arcade and thought that could be fun. Spent about 20 minutes in it, hated it. Just couldn't be asked. I just haven't got the patience or the technical sort of skill or anything you needed really to make a success of it. So I just, and I wasn't getting enough out of it, I suppose. But
yeah, I spent a good few days with my mate back and forth in the summer holidays about 18 years ago playing Tenchu 2 map editor with Goron, the Bandit King. I used to play... It was a Far Cry game, actually, on the Xbox, the original Xbox. I think it was called, is it like Primal Instinct or something?
The one I remember that one,
yeah, and you could basically build mountains and then hang glide off them and stuff like that. But in terms of new games with map, you've just said you want to go back to old games. Sorry, you don't want to go back to old games, but you need to. I can think of 2 modern games that have got a very decent editor. And I will tell you them right now. One is Wargroove, which has not only a map editor, but a complete campaign editor.
Yep.
And also, it's on the PC, you can upload custom sprites, pixel art sprites. So if you do fancy getting into a bit of pixel art, you can do that as well. Fantastic. You can make your own story. You can make your own, single battle maps and whatever. And the second game is the masterpiece that is Divinity Original Sin 2. Not only is this game as is... 10s across the board. It also comes with 2 things. One's like the Dungeons and Dragons mode, which if you've ever played D&D, or you're interested in making maps, by the way, look at Dungeons and Dragons. It's like making your own story. But you can do that with the nice sizzle and the nice sparkle of Divinity Original Sin's engine. But it also gives you the full-on map editor, so you can make your own thing custom altogether, just for you, whether it's for D&D or not.
It's really quite... I would say it's pretty intimidating.
It's intimidating, but you could probably learn a lot of stuff from it. And
which means if you know like this guy's obviously got experience like doing stuff. So
for Valve's engine, like Hammer.
Yeah,
and there might be things from Hammer that are in this, like because you might not realize it, but maybe some one named tool in Hammer is actually a very generic concept in map editing.
If you've got to grips with and learn anything else, then there's a good chance you'll be able to do it again.
Yeah, and especially things he was saying about like level pacing and things like that. These are universal. So Larian Studios devs as well have got the actual like sources online to get good at that. And you could, if you really want to take things further and maybe make like whole campaigns. Wargroove is one example, very pixel art, and then Divinity Original Sin's another one, which has, like I say, D&D support.
Also Far Cry.
That was a good selection of emails this week.
Yeah, they were really good. If you want to send us in, it's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Just give us your opinions, tell us what you think about stuff, tell us your stories.
Tell us where you're from.
Give us some talking points. Give us your name, tell us where you're from. Yeah, you don't have to be specific. Just country, town, city, whatever you want. Just as long as you get some sort of idea. So let's do the new releases before we finish then. February the 26th, which is Tuesday. Quite a few games this week, actually. Not any big blockbuster type ones, but good selection nonetheless. Dirt Rally 2.0 is out on PS4, Xbox One and PC. Sequel to 2015's Dirt Rally.
It was fun. I remember playing it on the 360.
Oh, this is Dirt Rally. So there's 7 Dirt games, I think. 6 or 7 sort of, which have got different sort. And this is like Dirt.
This is the Rally
one.
The Rally
very sort of realistic, like physics and shit like that, and skidding around corners in a
It's
believable
one
way.
of these types of games that, of course, already has its audience. And people who have got like steering wheels and stuff on their computers and all that. Like
it's a whole culture that I don't understand.
It is. It's like, kind of like how the fighting game culture is, isn't it? It's its own almost segregated culture. It feels like that. Like you win it for life, like a flight simulator kind of thing. But I've seen the reviews for this already. They look pretty decent, to be honest.
So that's coming this week. There's also Stellaris Console Edition, which is coming to PS4 and Xbox One. Stellaris is fucking lovely. If you like if you like sci-fi. It's got before anything else, it's got a superb sci-fi soundtrack. So if you're like looking for a bit of nice sci-fi music,
it does actually have a good soundtrack.
It's really nice.
For some reason, I had the CD of it, and I just listened to it.
It's great, man.
It's very good.
It's a lot of like this sort of Interstellar-inspired horns and shit like that.
Yeah.
Interstellar, not Inception.
Yeah.
And that big sort of cathedral. Like organ type stuff, which it's really nice. It's really good, and the game's also very good. It's coming to PS4 and Xbox One.
How they're going to work those menus, I don't know.
Yeah, that is.
You played that on the PC?
I think I played a little bit of it at one point.
It's like menus in menus, like you're on about
like
Radial
4X, right?
Yeah, it's a Paradox game. It's a Paradox game. So it's like Crusader Kings.
Radial menus all over the place, I guess.
I mean, if it's coming to those two, then get it on a Switch, innit? I'll play it on a Switch.
Touchscreen on the Switch as well, so menus are a lot easier.
They've got Civilization on there.
They have,
So, and I think there are some like weird sort of little grand
City Skylines
strategies.
City Skylines is on there.
That's
another like sort of like management heavy.
But there's actually some like big grand strategy type stuff on there. I think sort of not huge ones, but there are those types of games on the Switch, so it could potentially work. Anyway, it's not coming to the Switch, it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One. So enjoy that if you've got a console and you haven't played Stellaris yet. The Lego Movie 2 video game is out on PC, Switch, PS4 and Xbox One as well, which is the latest in a long line of Lego games.
Yeah, feels like there's a couple of them every year.
Yeah, Traveller's Tales, those folks what make all of them. And then Trials Rising.
Which is in open beta right now. You can download it for free all the way up until the release date, I think.
Which is on PC, Switch, PS4 and Xbox One. Everyone knows what Trials is, right?
Yeah.
It's a game about bikes.
Literally time trials.
Die a lot.
Stunts.
Yeah. Fail.
Trying to get medals.
Yeah. It's a side scroller,
wheelies.
essentially. Yeah. It's only left to right. It's a 3D. It's weird though because the camera does kind of pan a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're very much moving. You don't really control where you go. You just have to
kind of arcs almost.
You
only really control your speed and your pitch, really.
So I'm not sure what's the Rising mean. Like, what is it? I don't know what's different about this one.
It's Bane, isn't it? And then March the 1st, talking about fighting games. Dead or Alive 6, the jiggliest of all fighting games.
Nice.
It's out on PC, PS4 and Xbox One, developed by Team Ninja.
Mm-hmm. Is it? Why get cracking on Neo too, boys? What are you doing?
Yeah. Dead or Alive, the one with the most sort of bouncy body bodily parts.
It's the one with the most breasts.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's the one with the most blood.
Yeah. Is Dead or Alive the one that's got its own dedicated volleyball spin-off game?
Dead or Alive, yeah. The Extreme series.
Exactly. And why would you have that if it wasn't because all your characters are the breasts?
Enjoy that.
Paul Phoenix couldn't do that, could he? On Tekken and that? No way.
Who's fucking buying this one?
Do you know what?
Dead or Alive?
No, we've got quite
massive fan.
I was going to say, listen, we already piss off the fighting game community just by being called special moves. People are always like, you're called special moves, but you don't even play fighting games, do you?
I play Tekken.
Yeah, Liam plays Tekken.
Excuse me. Show me one game that doesn't have special move in it.
Eastshade, isn't it?
Any fucking there's special move in Eastshade.
Yeah, there's somewhere ability. Yeah,
there's a special move in it. Universal phrase.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy Dead or Alive, everyone who's going to buy that. And Toe Jam and Earl, Back in the Groove. It's out on...
So Toe Jam and Earl is actually a weird
Drive
one
days.
because a lot of people who are sort of, how to say this politely, like over 25 will know Toe Jam and Earl. Big time. But anyone
from the very early
younger, unless you're like Liam and you're well versed in all things video games.
I played Toe Jam and Earl.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. You're the exception to the rule, but I don't know how interested 18, 19-year-olds are going to be in this Toe Jam and Earl sort of thing. That's about two space alien rappers, I think, that land on a planet and they have to, side-scroll their way to victory, platform their way to victory.
I think there's like action sort of brawler elements to it, if I understand, or like hack and slashy type things.
So that's unusual because I don't think they've had a 3D outing, have they? Because the last game was literally like was it 1996 or something? It was a long time ago.
It's the fourth one though.
Yeah, that's it. So that and Earthworm Jim had quite a big buzz at the time.
Yeah.
So everyone who's looking forward to bouncy fighting and game that was last around in 1996 is it's a Good Friday for you anyway. enjoy that. Yeah. Right, thanks everyone for watching and listening to the Special Moves podcast. That was podcast 26.
I think it's 26. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course it was. Never in doubt. Send us in your emails to dearspecialmoves@gmail.com and we can have a chat about whatever you want, basically, as long as it's pretty interesting. We do get quite a few of them, but I'll try and get them. I'll try and get as many in as we can, sort of thing. But send us any topics, gaming related, and we'll have a chat about that. Join us on Patreon if you want to join us on Patreon. From $1 a month, we've got Discord, we've got other stuff. Just check out the Patreon page. This is a very underwhelming outro. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.
I'm going now. Bye.